Hello, I'm Luisa Maria Hernandez, and this video is for the step 5 of testing and evaluation in ELT. This time around, I had to design a lesson plan with a chosen population. The chosen population this time is the community of English learners, a group of Aboriginal students who belong to a shelter in the department of Balpés. Students receive 2 hours of English every day. The group is 60 students aged from 11 to 60 years. The main point, or the point I take into account the most during the making of this lesson plan, is the fact that students have different ages. There is a huge age gap among students. So it's very likely for these students to have different level of English. So I had to fit this lesson plan to their needs according to their proper English level. The method is problem-based learning. The students are assigned a mission and they have to solve a problem from an imaginary situation. The evaluation is going to be made collaboratively, using collaborative work as a method to assessment and peer work. So it's problem-based learning and collaborative-based learning. The main approach of this lesson plan is the use of technology as a means of communication. In this lesson plan, we're using Skype as a means of communication to communicate with a native English speaker from another country or someone who is good at speaking English from this country. The teacher leads the dynamics and is a facilitator of the whole experience. The student's performance is the main part of the evaluation process. So, as this said, the teacher is only a dynamizer, a facilitator. The main actor within this lesson plan are the students. There are some parameters to take into account during this evaluation. The first one is that the time is going to take 2 hours. The topic is conversational speech. I didn't want to focus on any specific topic because, as I said before, it's very different, the English level among students. So I wanted to fit their needs and evaluate their overall conversational speech. The skills I'm going to see during this evaluation are speaking, listening, and writing. The objectives are that students are able to produce questions, understand the answer, and speak up their conclusions over the topic. The materials are a computer with webcam, internet connection, good internet connection, Skype, and flashcards. The groups are going to be composed by 4 members each, so given that there are 60 students, it means that there will be 4 groups. The groups will be assigned according to age and English level. Students from the same level and age will belong to the same group. Each group will be evaluated according to the English level and age of its members. So, the best scenario for this activity to take place is where students who belong to the same group are in the same English level, because it's the way that they are going to be evaluated by the students' English level. The participation in the activity will be evaluated individually. Students must adjust their participation to the assigned time. Now, what's the evaluation activity? The main point of this evaluation activity is that they are going to be connected via Skype with another person, and the best possible scenario is that is with a foreign person whose native language is English. So the first part of this activity is the warm-up, where the teacher presents the rules of the evaluation and the activities that are going to be done during the class and what is expected for the students to do. Groups are assigned. All this gotta happen in 5 minutes. The presentation that takes place in 10 minutes. The teacher gives to each group a flashcard with a topic to make questions. The topics are personal and familiar questions, personal tastes, past experience and future expectations, and political opinions. The main aim of this conversation via Skype is that students must get to know the person that is in the other side of the camera. So, given their level of English, I adjusted the topics from difficulty, from personal and family questions who belong to a basic level of English, to political opinions who need to critical thinking and other skills that can only be exposed in a high level of English. Each group formulate 4 questions about the topic, and the video call is connected. So the topic is just what the questions will be about. The students themselves will have to write their own questions. The basic or the most normal thing to do is that each student designs a question to do. So each student of the group, each member of the group is going to ask a question. The development is it's the conversation via Skype, when the person of the other side gives a brief presentation and the group starts making their respective questions. Each group write the given answers. The first group will take 5 minutes, the second will take 10, and the third and fourth group will take 15 minutes. After the questions, the video call will be disconnected. It doesn't necessarily mean that there have to be only 4 questions per group. The idea is that the student who makes the question tries his best or her best to get the answer he expected, the expected answer. So it's not necessarily one question, but the answer, the information they want to gather from that question. It's the main point of this activity. Now, for the production part, the group will gather the information and prepare an exposition about the person's answer about the assigned topic. So they're going to gather all the information from each topic, and they're going to prepare an exposition, an explanation, where they're going to talk about the answers of that person. Now, for the assessment part, the exposition begins, and each student will write down as much as information according to what they hear in the exposition. As I said before, listening is one of the main points of this activity. So students will have to write down what they hear. Every member of the group that is exposing must participate. The first 2 groups will take 5 minutes per exposition, and the last 2 will take 10 minutes per exposition. A template will be given individually. This is the second part of the assessment. The first part are the expositions where the listeners are going to write down as much information as they can, and after the expositions are wrapped up, then a template will be given individually. This time, this activity will not be grouply, but individually. So each student will use their annotations to fulfill the template. That is about the topics explained, and in the expositions giving conclusions about what is exposed. So the template contains the 4 topics, and the main point is that the students write down the conclusions over each topic about what the person in the video call says, or the opinions of the person in the call. So that's the conclusion. Let's remember that the main point of this activity or the mission is that the students must know the person they have this Skype conversation with. Now, as a wrap-up, students will give the templates to the teacher, and teacher concludes giving general feedback of the activities made during the evaluation class. Now, as for the rubrics, what is expected from the students to do? Well, there are going to be 3 main items to be evaluated, which is the participation, the exposition, and the conclusion. So, the participation is key. Exposition is the main part of this activity, since speaking is going to be evaluated, and it's the main part. And as for conclusions, so the high score is when the participation, in terms of participation, is when students' participation in the conversation is active and the questions are well formulated. In terms of exposition is when it's clear, cohesive, and expresses the idea from the assigned topic. So in this part, it's very important that the students, the explanation they give on their exposition is accurate. It goes with the conversation they had previously on. As for conclusions, the written conclusions are correct, clear, cohesive, and are grammatically correct. These Evaluation will be evaluated from a score from 1 to 10 or 0 to 10. Thank you very much. This is my plan activity. Here are the references. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.